It is important and critical right now, more than ever, that you know what to look for, what to pay attention to, and how to read this. And Uncle Lenny's going to help you here, okay? Remember our rules. Do not listen to cable news. They provide to you a little bit of a trend, a little bit of a, oh, that's interesting. That's it. They have no earthly idea. Their job is not to, in any way, provide for you a rational, legitimate, honest, truthful view of what have you. Okay? That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. What they're doing is to speak to their own constituency. They want to make sure that their crowds hear what their crowds want to hear. Their job is not to explain anything involving the process of the election itself. And I can't say that enough to you. This is about elections. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about who wins. Now, every single day, what you should do is before you begin, start off by going to, thank you, dear, go to Real Clear Politics, RCP, right at the top. And Real Clear Politics will give you an idea of some very important numbers. And specifically, you're looking at Trump and now Harris. In the RCP poll average, Trump leads by 1.5 points. This is as of today, as of right now. In the 5-way RCP average, Trump is up by 3. In favorability ratings, Trump is up by 3. So that's good. But that's like blood pressure. That's good now. Let's see your blood pressure at the end of the day. Let's see what it's like next week. And who cares what it was before? You have to think in terms of metrics. You have to learn what this is. Now, what's the most important are the battleground states. The battleground states, some important more than others. Georgia, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. In Virginia, Trump's up by, this is 0.4. So that changed a little bit. Pennsylvania, he's up by 4.5 points. Georgia, he's up by 4. Minnesota by 3. Ohio by 9. New Hampshire, by the way, Biden, interesting, not that it matters, but just watch it. It changes constantly. Now, these are sort of idiot lights, so to speak. They kind of give you an idea of where we're going. That's all that matters. I don't care about anything that Joy Reid says. I don't care about George Clooney. That means absolutely nothing to me. I have no interest in that. That is just for the fan. That's like having same day coverage, and we have somebody who goes out for the tailgate parties. It's like, oh, that's interesting. What does that have to do with the game? Nothing. Remember that. You have to be a sophisticated observer of elections. This has nothing to do with who's right, who's wrong, who laughs, who's stupid. What does Joe Concha say? What does Rachel matter? Doesn't matter. These people, for some reason, and I don't know why, I have no idea. It's political observers don't care about the politics. They care about what people on cable news say about it. I don't understand that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, President Trump. He has to remain himself, but now it's been set in stone. Let's go forward, okay? You had an incredible convention. You survived an attempt on your life. You showed incredible courage. That's behind you. You want to talk about Security, Secret Service, great. I'm past that. Thank you. You can talk about it. You want to talk about Cheadle and the security? I'm past that. I got to win this thing. I'll talk to you after we win. Everything else bores me. Don't care about this. I want the president to think about whether he is appearing sometimes to Americans to seem to be either aloof or elitist by playing golf all the time. Now, I know this may bother people because some people have this incredible sense of this automatic protection they always have for Trump. Well, wait a minute. That's the man's entitled. Stop defending him. Ask yourself the question. Do you think it helps or doesn't help the president? I don't care what your thoughts are. I don't care what your ideas are about whether he deserves. Of course he deserves the time. Does this help him? Yes or no? Does it help him? Yes or no? Every single thing. Ask yourself. Now, we're never going to understand really internal polling. But here's my first strategy. Number one, I don't care what you think. I don't care what I think. I don't care what, who, Roger Stone. I'm trying to think of a name. I don't care what people think. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care what Rachel Maddow said. I don't care what Jake Tapper. Doesn't matter to me. I'm looking at this voter. And where are the voters that I care for? Swing states, toss-up states, battleground states. That's it. Everything else I don't care. I don't care about California. Forget California. Forget. They raised $8 million last night in California. Yeah, Hollywood did. Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, what's your point? Well, it's California. Now, if Kamala Harris is raising 8-10 millions in Arlington, Texas, that's going to be kind of interesting. Next, we create the narrative, not her. We create the narrative, not her. We do, not her. Not the meme, not the laughing. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Whether she laughs or cackles, yeah. That's not enough. That may be fun. That may be great. That may get you a lot of shorts views for your reel, and that may be great. That doesn't mean anything to me. Doesn't mean anything. She laughs. So what? Some people like that in a weird way. Who knows? Look at this. Our friend Wakul, Aussie here, says, lots of chatter. Joe Biden very ill. If he dies, a huge sympathy bump for C, for Kamala. Sympathy vote for her? He's gone. She is going to take under the 25th Amendment, no matter what, my dear friend. And Joe may have been suffering very seriously from COVID. They were suggesting that when he was on Air Force One, they were flying so fast it scared the hell out of them. His oxygen saturation levels. There might be the come on, let's do it for Joe thing. No. How about this? They broke Joe's heart. She pushed him out. They lied to him. You want to spin it? Spin it that way. Oh yeah, now you love him. Oh, now the Democrats love him. These are cold. These are cold-blooded. After he said, "I'm going to run," and they told him, they double-crossed him. Even his team didn't know. And if they're going to double-cross Joe, they're going to double-cross you. How about that message? Think that's sympathy? How about that? Hey, America. How many here? Seriously, let me ask you something. And I'm glad you brought up a good point. And I mean that. How many of you have been Pearl Harbored? Remember that expression? At a job. How many of you had your job? I just talked to somebody the other day where they work for a media company. The boss says, hey, don't worry, we're selling. But everybody, you stay here. Everybody's job is safe. And they fired them the next day. How many of you have been kicked out or double-crossed by somebody that's under you? How many of you have been kicked out because you were too old? Or maybe the boss's son or boss's daughter? How many of you have ever been involved in something where you were double-crossed, your heart was broken, where your job and your livelihood was absolutely double-crossed by some heartless, two-faced, some lying, mendacious predator? That's the way I'd spin it. Look at this. Raul has, everybody has. You know what your job means to you? You know what it is to you? I've worked for that place for 25 years. I gave my heart and soul. I gave up vacations. I was there. And this is the way they treat me? This is the way they treat me? Look at this. Look how everybody's coming forward. Yes, that's the way I'd do it. And while cool, by the way, Aussie, you bring up a great point. Sympathy, no sympathy. They killed him. They killed him. You know, they say that after a man, I don't know if you've seen this, but how many of you have had a parent who, after your father was forced into retirement, he died shortly thereafter? You can see a man's health decline in particular right afterwards. That's the way to spin it. And if they're going to double cross him, they're going to pay attention to you. You think these people make sense? They're heartless. These people are heartless. You got it? You got it? Now think about what I just told you. Think about how that resonates. It's like, wow, yeah, he's right. Uncle Lenny's right. That's exactly right. And why cool, my friend, or Aussie, that was a very good, I never even thought about that till you said that. You see how you inspire me? That's what I want to do. See, I take everything and I convert it. I convert it completely. Convert it completely. Look what they do. Look. And I would go to every one of those women, every one of those, to an extent. I'm going to say something that might be taken the wrong way, but on MSNBC, they would probably keep a woman, let's make it even more brutal, a woman who is older than other networks. You look, when the last few times there was a show during the day, what was that show in the day where they had all the cocktail dresses and the short mini skirts, and what was that thing? I thought, what the hell is this? On Fox. Remember that during the day? Emily Campagna and all these, they were like dress. The Harris, the Faulkner Focus. Gotta be careful how you say that. Meet the Faulkners. It looked like what is this? It looked like the Price is Right gals, like Janice Pennington or something. I would look to them and say, let me look at you right now. Better be careful. Better be careful. You get a little long in the tooth, you're out of here. Remember when Janice Dean, she's very good. She's a weather person on a national network. So the weather is real kind of diffuse and generic. But she's the one who was, I think her in-laws died because of Andrew Cuomo's ridiculous policy putting COVID patients in a nursing home. Well, they kept her on because she was pushing. Well, let me tell you something, Janice. You get a little long in the tooth. That's gone. Martha McCullum, be careful. Ainsley, you might be okay because of Hannity, but let me tell you something. This is a brutal world out there. This is a brutal world. And if I did a station, if I did one, everybody would have like chevrons, how many years they've been doing this. In my company, you're paid by how many years. You have ranks. You have underneath, when they have the name, they've got like 5 years, 10 years. That's what's wrong with this country. But anyway, to make a long story short. Okay. Rule number 2. Remember stripes? Of course you do. Remember when they're sitting around and they say, anybody calls me Francis, I'll kill you. You touch my stuff, I'll kill you. Remember that? It was a great one. And then who was it? The great Sergeant Stryker or whatever, he goes, sit down, Francis. Okay. As soon as you tell me you don't want me to say something to you, that's when I move in. As soon as you tell me that you don't want something, I move in. What doesn't Kamala Harris want you to refer to as? And please do me a favor and stop this Willie Brown, Megyn Kelly nonsense about, well, she was 30 years old. Megyn, do you really want to go through? Are you able to compare your I don't know what the hell that was. Okay. But here's the thing. What word, Warren Oates, thank you. What's the word, Johannesburg, Gil Scott Heron? What's the word or the phrase that Kamala doesn't want you to use? What is it? Please, no comedy. I know you can't help it. No, please, please. Dead serious. You're on my team. What does she not want to be called? In her prior iteration, what is it? What do you think? What does she not? DEI? Okay, close enough. Very good. Peter, that's actually a good answer, but that's not it. What does she not want to be called? DEI tone bar? Good question. And by the way, DEI, you got to be very careful because that is going to be, they're going to say you're racist because you can't possibly, you can't possibly be doing this without the intimation of the fact that black women can't do it. Very simple. Borders are. Who said that? Who said borders are? Who said borders are? 094 Renaissance. Borders are. Absolutely. Give them enterprise or woman or they, whatever you are. By the way, you notice how nobody's doing pronouns anymore? Oh, there's always one straggler, one outlier. Nobody does pronouns. Nobody. My pronouns are he. Yeah. Nobody's doing that anymore. Nobody. It's gone. Gone. You got to know when things go. Do you remember when bell bottoms just went? It was a Tuesday. No, you don't. They just go. Next thing you go, hey, what happened to? What happened to? We had the. You know what? I don't see it better. I'm very good at finding things that aren't here anymore. That, by the way, is judgment because I can see the differences between one situation and another, and that comes with age. That's another story. Okay, what do I want to do? Here's what they do. Two stories I want you to look at. One, GOP site, and second is Axios. Axios is damn good. Damn good. Very good. Very comprehensive. I like a lot of that stuff. So here's what, this is from the GOP. Okay. And what's really interesting is this important. Oh, we went news. Go to GOP and go to news. There we go. This is it. Here we go. Borders are. This is a piece by Jake Schneider. This is this one. When Kamala became borders are, remember, she doesn't want to be called borders are. Gee, why do you think? Because it's a disaster. But Kamala supported decriminalizing illegal border crossings. She said she wouldn't treat illegal aliens as, quote, criminals. She would black men in California. Don't forget that one. She backed free taxpayer-funded health benefits for illegal aliens. How do you like that one? Hey, America, having trouble making your premiums? Worrying about your kids' health care? Worrying about dentists and braces and everything? Huh? Good luck. By the way, anybody want to look like, have you tried the Ozempic thing? Try that. Look at Oprah and her, she either is on it, she's not on it. Good luck with that one. But if you're an illegal, no sweat. Kamala compared ICE, immigration agency, compared ICE agents to KKK. She called for starting ICE from scratch. Kamala expressed support for sanctuary cities. Closing the border violated federal law. Now, remember, I also want you to go and look at this. Axios has a great article. It says Harris border confusion haunts her new campaign. Now, before we forget, if I say this to you and it doesn't get to her and it doesn't make her say, we're wasting our time. We're not doing this so that Joe Concha can say something. We're doing this so that somebody forces her either at a Q&A or forces or somewhere to do this. And we only care about battleground states. Remember, I don't care what they do in California. I don't care. New York may go red for the first time. I don't even know how. Before we get to this, let me explain to you. Remember, battleground states I care about. Number 2, winning the electoral vote. That's it. But before they said that Trump was looking at maybe 303, 330. I mean, some crazy number after the convention. Does this change? She's going to get a bump. As I told you before, you were going to all these people, and it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. One of the reasons why they do it, believe it or not, is to fix and affect their own image. Right now, there are 2 big actors planning to come to Broadway, both of them vying to be the highest paid actors. So they're going to outprice the tickets so that they can say they're the highest paid actor. They don't care anything about anybody seeing their stuff. It's all about them. The Hollywood, I don't have to tell you this, is so craven. So, oh my God. Now, I want to say a couple other things to you. Well, I say it on my private channel, but we'll get to this in a moment. Cobalt Gomez. I love that name. Thank you, sir. Now, here's what we're going to do. Somebody's got to get to Kamala. The thing that I want people to understand about the borders, 2 things. Well, maybe 3. Number 1, refer to her as border czar or czarina, technically speaking. She is the border czarina. You got it? Good. Remember, border czar, she said, I'm not a border. Oh, yes, you were. No, I'm not you went there. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, whenever you refer, and I said this before, especially with BB coming today, you want to be able to ask her flat out, and please, I'm not independently questioning this. I'll do that later. But I want people to say, Madam Vice President, do you believe that Israel is committing genocide? Don't kid around. Answer the question. Have people say, wow. Why do you not, and here's what I'm telling you, why do you not think that people care about the death, the destruction, and the terror to little brown people? That's the code word that people always use. And the reason why is very interesting. You hear them say it whenever they ask why, and they'll say Trump is some kind of a racist or something, because the only reason why they want him to reinforce the borders, they claim, is because he doesn't like little brown people. He doesn't like brown people. And they use this at their behest, at their own convenience. They do this. They say this. But if the truth is that people coming in from China and Arabs, whatever. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, remember that in this particular case, the border crossing, the reason why Americans in particular, remember, Black Americans, because they're trying to push this. They're saying, hey, Black Americans, guess what? This is a chance for you to make history. Yeah, this is the first chance for you to make history by, in essence, and this is what they will allege, by, in essence, allowing in some quisling, some traitor to represent you and turn her back on the very community she now claims to be a member of. Look what she did to Black men in school. She, as Attorney General, refused to, or as a prosecutor at least, refused to turn over evidence that could have saved people's lives on death row. And this is somebody who I'm supposed to connect with as far as what? And the reason why the border matters is that, hey, Black American Latinos, the money which used to go for inner city programs, stipends, whatever it is, it's going to these people now. It's going to these illegals, not you. And the reason why your kid is having a harder time in school because the classes are so overcrowded is because they open the door one day and they say, by the way, this is so-and-so, the Gonzalez de Gutierrez family from whatever, and there they are. They're here. And there's not enough resources. And this is what your borders are, who now her race and her culture only come into play when she needs them. She just kind of goes with the wind. Let's go through some of the facts of this case. This is the most important. Check out this great article from Axios. Don't forget, Real Clear Politics first. Look at the numbers. So in early 2021, when Kamala Harris, she was enlisted by Joe Biden to become border czar. Remember, border czar. Okay? And there's a confusion right now around her exact role, where with early, as they say, media misfires and confusion, and the rapidly deteriorating regional crises that have been the target of GOP efforts and Trump since day one. The administration's early infighting over this and blame shifting around the border doesn't help matters either. Now, what's interesting, the Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Harris with border czar, which she actually never had. So she said. They say, and Trump says, she was appointed border czar in March of 2021. And since that time, millions and millions of illegal aliens have invaded our country, with countless innocent American citizens having been killed by illegal immigrant crime waves because of her willful, deliberate, and intentional demolition of the American border and laws. This is a woman who now claims to be a former prosecutor who wants to destroy law and order. This is what Trump is going to be saying. Elise Stefanik, who, by the way, she is just chomping at the bit. She's your pit bull, depending upon what you want. She introduced a resolution condemning the administration and its border czar for failing to secure. By the way, Elise Stefanik was one of the loudest, most vituperative, vociferous, pro-Israeli or Israeli government voices in the House ever. Keep that in mind as they're going to push Kamala Harris to say something about Israel. She's not even going to meet with Bibi. I mean, this may not sound like much to you, but to a number of hardcore, proud Israeli supporters, this is the shot over the bow, so to speak. Now, Harris's supporters, the people who love her, are saying, "Oh no, she assumed the role that Biden had. She didn't really do it. Her role was, and here's the best part, was to deal with the diplomacy regarding Central America. She wanted to find out why is I'm not the border czar. I'm trying to find out why people are trying to move to the United States. That's what I'm doing. I'm not the border czar. I'm just trying to find out because I'm scratching my head saying, now, why would people want to leave? They're impoverished. And by the way, nobody's ever blamed or scratch your head and say, why would somebody not want to be an American citizen? Of course we understand this. And believe it or not, for the 99% of the people who don't hurt anybody, they might be great additions. Let me tell you something. In New York, unlike anything you've ever seen, There are more delivery in New York City, in Manhattan. There is more delivery than you can imagine. In fact, the chances, your life expectancy goes down significantly because your chances of being hit by some kind of a bike or something with some delivery person. Now, if you read between the lines, immigration has remained a top concern for Americans. This is huge, as we say. Our good friend George Lenz says Dems are voting for their own demise. Unbelievable. Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. Aussie here says speculating whether the switches back to the Dems now with Kamala. This election, at least Twitter is freer discourse. We'll see what happens with this. It's a very good point. By the way, your code is incredible. Danny Saunders, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Now let's go back to this beauteous bit of information here. This cracks me up. Okay, where is it? Hang on 1 minute. Let me get rid of this. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Da-da-da. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Where do we go? Okay. Yes, for the first time in almost 20 years, a majority of Americans say there should be less immigration. That's it right there. Less immigration. Not illegal immigration, not about less immigration. This is according to Gallup. Ding, 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 ding. Well, the borders begs to differ. That what's happening is making a clear immigration pitch to voters would be critical for her campaign. But how does she do it? And the Biden campaign apparently had been going on a fence, blaming the Republicans. This is my favorite, for killing this bipartisan border deal, which it wasn't bipartisan. It was a border deal that stunk. Now, keep in mind this. Unlike Biden, Harris is theoretically, and this is a problem, does she tell her followers what she does? Because she's well-versed. Remember the Dreamers and other immigrant-related legislation in the Senate? Oh, her record. She's 100% for Dreamers. You understand that? She's really experienced regarding the Dreamers. Now, what's interesting to know, too, is in March of 2021, Biden, and this is what they're going to say, supposedly enlisted and tapped, Harris to lead this is my favorite, the administration's coordination with Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, which were key sources of illegal immigration. She wanted to say, would you work with them, not close the borders? Let me just repeat this. Close the borders. If your house is infested, I'm not trying to make a comparison with human beings and rats, but just as an example, if you had a problem, if you called up some exterminator and said, listen, I've got, a rat problem, or you would not want the exterminator to do a study to find out, well, what is it about your home that would make say, excuse me, I want them out. I'm not here to determine the motivation of them. I mean, that may have some role in this. But what's interesting right now is this is critical. And there was this immediate confusion in the media and the White House because immediately afterward, there was a border surge. And it blew up into a full-blown humanitarian and political crisis immediately thereafter. And the borders are narrative stuck especially, and it's still going to be there. Remember, in her first overseas trip to Guatemala and Mexico, I don't know if that's overseas technically, but I mean, maybe if you go around anyway, she urged immigrants, this is my favorite, do not come here. Remember that? The border czar who loves her dreamers said, do not come here, go back. Wait a minute. Hold, what? The message coming from the daughter of immigrants, They went nuts. She received incredible blowback and pushback from advocates, and one called it as, quote, awkward, to say the least. Then when she was on with Lester Holt, he asked whether she had plans to visit the border, and she said, well, I haven't been to Europe either. What? And then she ultimately visited El Paso. Remember this one, in June of 2021. But they cleared all of the dreamers away, cleaned it up. This is the most beautiful thing in the world. So understand what's happening. This is going to be what they throw at her. She continues to lead this effort to determine the root causes. This is the funniest one of them all. Includes generating $5.2 billion in investments. And by the way, she says, whenever you say that, that's money under the table, there's money for this one, there's money for that one, for investments. Excuse me, if you want to help with investments, stop this. Now, when Biden, by the way, he also embraced and suggested harsher sanctions at the border, using an executive order, remember, to cut off access to asylum for those who illegally crossed. Remember how he was changing at the moment? Remember that? And it seemed to have worked, at least temporarily, because June saw the lowest number of illegal crossings ever. Is she going to maintain this? Is she going to maintain this money? I mean, this is what a White House spokesman said, quote, this administration executive actions have brought unauthorized crossings to a lower level than when Trump left office. President Biden and Vice President Harris are leading on border security. Wait a minute. What's it going to be? What's it going to be, Alfie? That's the question that we have. Christian Janus says, we are Lionel Nation. Indeed. Thank you, Christian. Cheryl Fournier says, love your streams. You get insight, wisdom, different approaches, and most importantly, you crack me up. Thank you. That's the greatest compliment anybody could ever state. Thank you for that. So this is what needs to be done. Immediately force her. And who are the people who are, this is the group I think of. Now, let me ask you this. This is important. The Black American who says, you know what? I don't care about her, but I just love the fact that this woman represents a dream. I want to be a part of voting. You're going to vote? What? Are you going to vote? Oh, vote. Oh, yeah. Well, I support her. I tweet her. Are you going to vote? Are you going to go and are you registered to vote? Oh, yeah. You know, look at jury duty and oh, yeah. See, let me tell you what happened. Listen carefully. After COVID, something happened in this country. We lost our sense of, how do I say this? We lost our sense of doing things. Remember that? We lost our ability to want to do things. Right after COVID, people said, I don't want to go to work. I want to stay at home in my pajamas and my yoga pants and my slides and my Uggs and get takeout and watch Netflix and with my therapy dog, and I don't want to do anything. And that became who we are. They are still now. The mayor of Philadelphia, who's doing a fine job, trying to, she said, I'm going to have mandatory, you must show up to work. Still, if there was a laziness, the laziness is off the rails today. So you're going to ask people, okay, now listen. Is there going to be an influx of new voters for the first time in key states? What do you think? Because that will be serious. New voters. You don't need to cheat just say, no, count the votes. People who've sat this one out, African-American, people of color, women who said, you know what, I've really... that's question number one. I'm saying don't be so fast. Number two, listen to me carefully, and I want you to take every bit of your own prior bias away from this. Do you think America, or any particular faction or demographic of Americans you want, do you believe that America truly loves her? Do you believe that they say, yes, I wasn't crazy about that Biden, but I love that Kamala? Do you believe that? I'm not necessarily sure that's true. And remember what I'm telling you. I'm never going to tell you something that I wish to be true. I'm never going to tell you. I'm never going to say, oh no, she has no favorability, when in fact she does. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know if anybody really, if she is the powerhouse you think she is. I don't know. Now, the other day, we had this case of, you saw what happened. There were some AI experts who said, Joe's voice is definitely AI. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Joe's gone. He may not be physically dead, and we wish him well, but politically, it's done. It's over. Where's Jill Biden? Did you say he came back, honey, off of the airplane and of Air Force? It looked alone. Is she furious? Is she pitching a fit? I don't know. We can only guess what happened. And I love the way people make these absolute, well, I know what happened. They threatened. How do you know they threatened? Somebody said they physically threatened him. What does that mean? With the 25th Amendment, that's not a physical threat. Well, you know what I mean. The writing is so sloppy today. People use phrases that don't really make any sense. But my question to you is simply this. Do you think she's as big? I don't know. Now, remember, and this is important and this is critical. So listen carefully and listen to what I'm saying, because this is something that people have to understand and grasp. It is right now as we speak. Before the election, there are 26 days until the convention. Okay? 26 days. This is critical stuff. And also, you got to understand that there are 104 days until the election itself. 104 days. Now, another thing you must recognize and understand is that if Biden, hang on a minute, okay, until there are, this is important, days until there are 180 days until the inauguration, January 20th, 2025. That's 6 months. Do you think that Joe Biden can possibly exist in 6 months? 180 days. You think so? No. So this is the reality. Not because of the polling, not because of Obama, and not because he cannot physically do this. It's a different world, my friends. They might have pulled this off years ago when we had, Cronkite and Harry Reasoner and 3 networks. Not anymore. No. So that is another story. There she is. The House mistress, the team leader, Liz Solak, says, the way I see it, as far as the Dems go, it's called guilt by association. If they don't vote a black woman into office, they will be failing at their DEI duties. Well, that is, put it this way, that's what's happening right now, where she is the anointed one. And Liz, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's one of the saddest cases ever, because if this was someone, and I've always said this, Stacey Abrams is articulate, smart, black woman. You can go down the list. This woman, irrespective of her demographic, and thank you, Liz, irrespective of her demographic, this woman is a problem, a big problem. Let me ask you this much. First question. Now, not what you think. Is she likable? Honey, do you think she's likable to soccer moms? And do you, huh? No. Do you think people, women, remember, there's something that they always said about, but there's something about Trump they didn't like was women votes. Do you think, and please, ladies, whenever I do this, I sound sometimes to the untrained ear like I'm some kind of misogynistic. And if you've ever a sexist, and if you've ever heard me, you will know for years my absolutely belief, nobody believes I'm telling the truth, in the superiority of women. I do, however, know the way demographics work. I do know this. Do you believe that women look at her I'm sorry, just as a well, not a single mom, and not even a mom. Not that that matters, but whatever the package is, do you think when they see her and Doug that they say, "Oh, there's that"? Do you think so? Do you think so? Nope. I'm going to ask you another question, and I want you to answer this question not as a Republican, not as a Trump supporter, but as what, as just somebody who knows behavior. Okay, it's just like, for example, when when they have these study groups and they have kids and they ask kids whether they like toys, and they just watch kids and they like the red one but they don't like this one. They don't care why. They say produce the red one. Like, kids don't like that one. They don't know why. They like this, they like that. They want to see what kids like, what they pick up, what. Okay, do you think women respond favorably to Melania? Let me ask you that question again. This is very, very important, because when you vote for somebody, you have everything. Do you think, irrespective of whether they stand together, whether she's at the rally, whether she's at Mar-a-Lago, do you think that when people see Melania, they do this? They look what she's wearing, they look how she looks, they look at this. Do you think so? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why do you think we have fashion shows? Why do you think there's why do you, what do I have to explain this to you? Now, take that. When they say, and you can look at Trump, and you can, a lot of people think, Trump's kind of quirky, he's weird or whatever. He's just the way he is. There's one thing about Trump, though. His best thing going for him is he's authentic. He's not going to wear a cowboy hat. He's not going to be like Hillary doing shooters at some Scranton steam fitters bar. Remember that? Or remember when Obama was playing bowling and he got a gutter ball? No. Trump says, I play golf. That's it. I play golf. I wish he would wear more dark colors, but that's me. He doesn't care. That's the way I look. That's it. Okay. That's it. I play golf. I got a blue suit. I wear a red hat. And that's it. And here's Melania. Here's Melania. And when Melania shows up, every woman I know, irrespective, they may not say it, but they don't feel like, I can't. They always want to look at her. And if you could just hook them up to some kind of a reaction, they would say, I feel favorable. When people look at Kamala, do they feel that way? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Remember how they say that house guests and fish stink after 3 days or something like that? Raul says Melania is a woman that other women admire. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm telling you, and I can't point to any reason whatsoever. People do not care for her. People do not care for, Kamala Harris. I'm sorry. Because they know she's a phony. They can spot a phony a mile away. More people, honestly, reluctantly, listen to what I'm saying and listen to me carefully. And even YouTube Sooks will say, yeah, Carter death hoax. Yeah. Biden missing, Elvis lived, Paul died. New mud flood coming. To be continued. You are just too much with this. Thank you, Evan. I'm sorry, that was YouTube. YouTube says the letter she wrote was a gem as well. Indeed. But let me ask you this question, and thank you for that. This is a very serious thing. There were people who really liked in the old days. I'm sorry. I just know this. They want to see authentic. Oh. I'm going to say something. You're going to be very upset with me, but I'm going to say this. More people honestly respected. They may have despised it, but nobody ever thought that Hillary Clinton was an airhead. Nobody. You might not have liked her morals. You might not have liked her. You may not like her for whatever reason, but nobody. There was a lot of things about Hillary Clinton, and you know it, that they respected. They don't want her as president. They don't like her ethics, her morals, or whatever it is. But nobody ever thought she's an idiot. She's a fool. Never, ever. And stupid is something you can't get past. It's the Ted Baxter effect. Once you're considered dimwitty, you're through. You're through. Now, nobody's suggesting that Kamala is stupid, but nobody ever thought she was taken seriously because of this constant barrage. But it didn't matter before. People would say, yeah, she may dance, whatever, but she's just a vice president. Yeah, she's stupid and she said something, but she's the vice president. Yeah, she said some things about what could have been, but she's a vice president. Yeah, she does the dancing, but she's the vice president. Well, not anymore. Now it's a different story. George Len says, I would have Melania campaign in blue states. Well, Melania has been, it's funny you say that, Melania has been very, very reluctant. I think she's been a person that I think she should have been a lot more involved, but that's neither here nor there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. What I'm telling you right now is, listen to this. Take everything, throw it away. You are going to be here right now at the highest levels of the Democratic Party. They are saying we are going to treat Kamala Harris as the second coming of whatever, a cross between Eleanor Roosevelt, Madame Curie, Bill Clinton, whatever it is. We are never going to mention Joe Biden again. He doesn't exist. We would prefer Joe Biden, listen to what I'm saying, will never take off from the what am I trying to say? From the White House lawn, from that, where Marine One, where they wave like this, they go goodbye. No, nobody. Nope. He's just gonna be gone. He said, well, he's not feeling good. Thank you, Joe. They want him out of there. They don't want you to think about him. They don't want you to think about, hey, they double-crossed him. Hey, they said this. No, he's just going to be gone. And they're going to say, doctors have advised, this COVID thing is taking too long. But anyway, and Joe's going to have maybe some, is Joe supposed to speak today? Let's see what happens. Now, remember, whatever Joe does, they're going to be not believing it's him and all that, but it's moot at this point. It's moot. Don't be surprised. Next, Joe is going to step down and Kamala is going to be the incumbent president. She's going to go into the convention as the incumbent president, maybe even sooner, maybe into a debate. She's going to have to debate Trump. Number 3, or 4, you do the numbers. She's going to be running from the first label, border czar. And they're going to hit her with that. Next, they're going to hit her in key areas of this constituency, these pockets that they believe are going to be crucial regarding her view as far as criminal justice, how she turned her back on, you know what? I'm going to say something, but if I said she's a conniving backstabber, hey, ladies, can you relate to that? Absolutely. She's like Alexis Carrington. She's, you know what I mean? She's like Dynasty. You did that to him? Dear, that was Uncle Joe. So anyway, dear friends, let that be a lesson to you. Now, dear friends, let me say to you, George Lenz, thank you, buddy boy. Evan Webb, YouTube Sukes. Raul Rodriguez, Liz Solak, bless her heart, she's the den mother. She's the matron of discipline. Cheryl Fournier, Christian Janos, Danny Saunders, Biwa Cool, he's an Aussie. And of course, Cobalt Gomez. That is it's like a wrestler, huh? In this corner, weighing 200, Cobalt Gomez. Anyway, dear friends, so that's that. Lori Lewis, by the way, says, I'm nervous that Trump will lose. Well, that's a good thing to be nervous about. But Lori, too early. Many, many, many great things happening. Many, many, many great things. So keep that in mind. All right, your friends, don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors, Lynn's Warriors, Lynn's Warriors, Lynn's Warriors. Follow her on Twitter or X and follow her on YouTube. The stuff is magnificent. All right, your friends, we'll see you tonight. Sign up. I've also got, remember, Lionel members. You get all the videos first and all this kind of jazz and all that kind of stuff. So please make sure you tune in and soon in, whatever the hell that means as well. All right. See you later, folks. Have a great and glorious day. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead.